Some people are screaming, one guy's crying, another guy's like pissing in his pants. It's bad. All right, so it's very interesting traveling the world, trading, teaching. Crazy stuff happens, and you guys like to hear these stories, so these two stories are rather interesting. Story number one, when I almost died on a private jet. Years ago, I used to take a lot of jets just because of the way the world was. Not because I needed like the extra luxury. Like it was more about just like not, dealing with so many people at an airport. And interestingly, sometimes I would share the jets with other people. Like I, was in contact with all these jet brokers, and sometimes like if you're heading to the same destination, you don't want to just waste a jet like on one person. So the jet brokers would introduce us around and be like, hey, you want to take this jet? And there was one specific jet where we were flying from New York to Miami. There happened to be a crypto conference in Miami. And understand, I don't do crypto. All my imposters do. If you get like a DM or a message from somebody or like on Telegram saying like, Tim Sykes has this, crypto wallet, it's fake. Block and report the imposter. So I'm not a big fan of crypto people. I respect the technology. Blockchain does have potential. Too many scams. Anyways, I'm on this private jet with all these scammers, all these crypto people. For all I know, one of them is one of my imposters. I don't know. I'm taking pictures with a few of them. They're like my fans. I'm like, okay, calm down, you potential scam artists. Kind of like 3/4 way through the flight, the captain gets on the loudspeaker and says, we're going to run into some turbulence, so buckle up. I'm like, okay, this has happened before. So we hit the turbulence. Instead of just a little turbulence, there's like a loud bang, right? Which is not a good thing to be on a plane, let alone jets. Jets are actually statistically more dangerous than big commercial flights. And everyone's kind of freaking out because there's like a loud bang and like a big crash. We're still flying, but people are a little freaked out. The captain gets on the loudspeaker again saying we lost hydraulics. Hydraulics is, what you need to steer the plane. And, this is crazy to me. And I'm thinking like, I don't know what this means. I'm like Googling, we have Wi-Fi. So I'm like Googling, like this is pretty bad when you lose your steering. The captain says we can't go to the Miami airport like we were planning. We have to go to a different airport because we literally can't turn to the airport that we were planning on going to. So we go to this different airport. I have like my parents coming to pick me up. I'm like, actually, we're going to this airport. They're like wondering like what's going on. I didn't want to tell them like, maybe we can make an emergency landing. I don't know how bad it is. Some people are screaming. One guy's crying. Another guy's like pissing in his pants. It's bad. I'm like texting a lot of people being like, if I don't make it, they think I'm like joking. It was very scary. And it was probably the closest I came to death. We made it, obviously. I'm here to talk about this, but I was just picturing like, if we did go down, knock on wood, right? The headline would be like, 9 crypto traders and 1 penny stock trader, crash. And it's like symbolic of like at the time, the markets were dropping. So it would be like symbolic, like, oh, this is like a market crash. That's what I was thinking the headline was going to be. Luckily, we didn't need to do that. The pilot landed it, but it was a bumpy ride. Like you couldn't even hear anything. Like there was like loud mechanical issues. I haven't taken that many private jets since then. Very scary incident, but it was actually pretty crazy because then like you start to like, realize like you're just not in control, especially like with a jet. What are you going to do? Like it's bad. And that made me appreciate my life more. Second travel story. This one was more recent, and I have some photos. I took some photos of the receipts, so I'll post that. I'm flying a lot, not in jets all the time, but I'm flying for my charity. I'm flying because I like to travel. I'm flying to meet students. On this one particular day, this was just a few weeks ago, pre-market BuzzFeed, BZFD was spiking. They announced a deal with Meta. Big contract, $10 million, which, relatively speaking for this company is a small number in terms of revenue, but partnering with Meta on potential, content deals and like AI content deals BuzzFeed was spiking big pre-market. And I'm thinking, I need to be on this. I don't normally trade pre-market. It's very risky. There's a lot of chat pumps. But when a small company like BuzzFeed, a small failing company like BuzzFeed partners with Meta, which Meta could obviously just buy them out if they really wanted a lot of content, that's a big legitimizer. So when this happens, I'm interested in trading. So I'm trading it. I'm watching it. I'm going through security. Again, not like private, just like I think it was, I don't remember what airline. I really don't even know what airline, but it was like in the Copenhagen airport. I'm going through security. My backpack is a mess. I have like multiple laptops. I got so many chargers. I've got like cash. I've got, like allergy medication. It's a mess. Almost every time my backpack gets taken to the extra scanning because they see it and it's just like, I can just picture like it's not organized. It looks probably pretty bad in the little scanner. So I have my laptop. I'm looking at my laptop as like the bag gets like chosen for extra security. They're going through the bag. This one guy is like, I'm like, yeah, it's a mess. I'm sorry. And I'm just watching BuzzFeed and I'm like buying it pre-market and I'm trying to alert it. And this guy is like, pulls out a lot of my cash and he's like, how much cash is there? I'm like, I don't know. It's under 10,000. If in case you don't know, you need under $10,000 in cash to travel with. And I was like, I always, try to be under $10,000. On this particular trip, it was interesting because I thought that I was going from Dubai to Bali. Dubai to Bali is like a 7-hour flight. I thought it was going to be direct. The reason why I have so much cash, I don't normally have that much cash, but the reason why I had a lot this time was because I thought I was going to Bali. Some of the villas we stay in Bali, they only accept cash. They don't have credit card machines. I'm proud to help out like the locals. So sometimes I have a lot of cash for the Bali villa. As it turned out though, I did not go to Bali straight away. I had to come back here to Austin to do an all-day live webinar. So I'm flying back, didn't even like think about like the cash situation just because I'm like so out of it. It was like last second coming back to Austin. And the guy is counting the cash and he's like pulling out everything. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm trying to focus on BuzzFeed. I bought, I think like 10,000 shares and I'm up like up or down like a few cents a share. It's not moving that much. And then this guy says, you have a lot of cash here. Like you need to come with us. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm literally bringing my laptop, which is open, and I'm watching the stock. I'm in BuzzFeed, and I'm being led to like this extra security room by like 2 Danish security guards. Danish or Dutch? Is it the same thing?
I think one's a pastry.
There's a word as a Danish. Hold up. Danish versus Dutch. We're going to learn something here. You're a Dane if you're from Denmark and you speak Danish. You're Dutch if you come from the Netherlands. My bad, I got the wrong country. It's not Dutch, Danish. So I'm literally on my way to this little customs office, which is like the size of like this table, with these Danish customs officers. As I'm trading, and I'm like, don't just ignore me. Like, I'm sorry, I have to make this trade. And they're counting the cash. They got a big pile of cash. I've got like multiple currencies because I'm this disorganized. And they're like, how much is here? I'm like, I don't know. It's under $10,000. And they keep counting and I'm looking at BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed is dropping. I remember I add to my position in the customs office. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Can I film this? They're like, no, you're like in potentially serious trouble. So I don't know how much cash is there exactly, but I usually do try to stay under 10,000. As it turns out, I was not under 10,000. I was at around 17,000, and I have the receipts to prove this. And as a result, when you're over 10,000, I'm like, I don't even know. I've never been over 10,000. I was just planning the Bali villa, and I'm in too much of a rush, so I didn't keep track. When you're over 10,000 in cash, FYI, in Denmark, the Danish rule of law is you have to pay 25% over as a fee. So I was over by like 7,500. I ended up paying a $1,700 cash fee to the Danish police. So this is the receipt that I got from the Copenhagen police. I literally cannot make this up. Again, some people will say, why are you bragging about this? I'm not bragging. I want you to learn from my mistakes. So I had to sign this, and this is a statement of consent. It says, in connection with violation of the Customs Act rule on carriers who bring cash into or out of the Union or the Danish customs territory, the undersigned, named Timothy Sykes, hereby give my consent that the police, with no court order, seize an amount of $1,700 cash currency. And it was interesting because I actually did have to go back to Bali after my all-day live webinar. And I specifically left some cash at home, and them taking $1,700 reduced my cash too. The seizure is conducted by the rules in section 801, subsection 1 CF, section 802, subsection 2 CF, section 806, subsection 7 of the Administration of Justice Act, and the undersigned has been informed that the seizure can be brought to court at my request, CF section 807 of the Administration of Justice Act, until the case is settled. Thursday, January 26, 2023. And legit, this is the day that BuzzFeed, started spiking. So I don't regret the BuzzFeed trade, even though I was a little early and, I did profit. I was flying when BuzzFeed really started spiking. I didn't have Wi-Fi. So, that's just unfortunate. Sometimes I travel and it helps me from over trading. Sometimes I travel when there's no Wi-Fi and there's a good trade and I can't capitalize. I 1000% would have bought that BuzzFeed breakout. Do you have the chart? Can you show them the chart? If you look at this chart, I don't even have it on my computer, but I have it imprinted on my brain. There's a specific high of the day breakout in the afternoon over the morning high. So again, I bought in the morning just because it was a winter glitch, January effect kind of play with the meta news. I was right to some degree, but I actually sold pretty well because of this whole customs issue. But I missed the afternoon breakout. That was clear as day. I don't even have the chart in front of me. This was a month ago, and I still remember it because it was so beautiful. So if you ever miss a morning spike, or if you're ever stuck in a Danish customs office while trying to trade, or any other customs office or any other police station, I have a lot of crazy students. I've heard some crazy stories. Just remember, if there's a morning spike, there's sometimes a better afternoon spike. And you want to buy that afternoon spike, the breakout over the morning high. And look at this chart on BuzzFeed. It was such a beautiful breakout in the afternoon. It kept running all afternoon. It ran into the after hours. It ran the next day. It was like a freaking triple. And it was just beautiful. And I was there, but I was too early. So, for me, I tell this story, again, not to brag, but to show you these patterns are real and they can happen at any time. And as it turned out, BuzzFeed basically tripled from my initial buy in 2 days. But then you also can't get too cocky. Can you pull up a longer term BuzzFeed chart too, right? Show them the intraday breakout. But then also I saw a lot of people getting excited about BuzzFeed saying, oh, the company's turning around. No, it wasn't. Okay. January effect plays spike for 1 day, 2 days, maybe 3 days max. BuzzFeed was not turning around. It's a terrible business. The Meta deal is very small. The Chat GPT deal is pretty much just all hype. So you can get these quick spikes and these short squeezes, which you can ride, but do not believe the hype. And I know more people who were like, wow, Tim, you're on it. This whole company is turning around. And I was like, no. This is a momentum play, okay? Do not confuse momentum plays with long-term investments. The stock market is littered with people who are in the wrong companies for too long because they overstay. So it's very good to ride the pump, to, try to capitalize on the momentum, but never believe the pump, never believe the hype, and especially on a terrible company like BuzzFeed, okay? They have some of the worst fundamentals I've ever seen. If you look at a long-term chart, there's a reason why it's dropped 90%. It's not dropping 90% because it's a good company. It's dropping 90% because they're near bankruptcy. So you just have to have perspective. By all means, use it. The thing doubled or tripled from my buy alert in 2 days. I made some money on BuzzFeed, but I had to get out because I'm like in the customs office. They're like telling me that I'm going to be fined. I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to make my flight because I have to go back to my all day live webinar. There's just too much going on. I closed it out. I made like $1,000 roughly on BuzzFeed. Interestingly, the Meta News actually did not spike it. It was later that day they had Chat GPT News, and that tripled the stock. So a lot of people were like, oh, Tim, you sold too early. I was there early. I recognized that it was a potential squeezer. It was a perfect January effect winter glitch play. But I'm literally trading from the freaking Danish customs office, getting fined, giving them $1,700 in cash, which sucks, still making $1,000 on the trade. But that was one of my worst $700 overall losses. Always count your cash before you go to an airport. That's the lesson there. The other lesson is don't take a jet ride with crypto, because the crypto people have like these black souls and they just have a bad aura. And I have a feeling that that plane had trouble because of the aura from all of these crypto people combined. It was like this massive negative aura, which probably dented the hydraulics from which it could not recover. Very similar to what hodlers experience hodling onto crypto for too long. The hydraulics and the hodlers both got crushed. So be very careful about taking jet rides with crypto people. Be very careful with how much cash you have in your backpack. These are some of my crazy travel stories. Leave a comment below if you want more crazy travel stories. I've got more. You know, this stuff just usually happens. I don't plan it. Some people said this, like, you know, I posted that I'm like, you know, trading from the Danish customs office. I posted that I had like a fine, and people were like, yo, that's like the weirdest flex. I'm not flexing, okay? I need you to understand I'm just narrating the story of my life. If you followed me on Instagram years ago, that's when I flexed, when I had the cars, when I would take out $1 million in cash. Now I'm trying to have less cash. My world is a little different, right? I'm coming back for the all-day webinar, but the only reason why I had so much cash, FYI, some people are going to be like, Tim, I know you have a lot of cash. It's only for the Bali villas. I don't deal in cash. I'm not like a drug dealer. I'm not a shady crypto person. Well, I guess shady crypto people don't deal in cash either. But I feel like maybe, I don't know what are the rules with, like, if you have like a crypto wallet, right? You have like the little key.
No rules.
I don't even know the
Unless
rules,
you're McAfee.
right? I don't know the rules. I really don't know the rules regarding like traveling as like a crypto scammer. If you are a crypto scammer, stop doing that. Come on, study up. Click the link below. I'll link my challenge. I'll teach anybody. If you're a scammer, there's still hope for you. If you're not that smart, look at some of my newest millionaire students. There's hope for you, okay? I'll teach anybody, but you do have to be willing to study hard. And maybe if like my little crazy crypto jet almost crash story, or my Danish customs office while trading BuzzFeed and nailing it, but being a little too early, if that helps you understand that there's so much upside in this, then good, because there is. It's insane how different people's view of trading is versus reality, right? Like everyone wants to make millions of dollars, but you think it's going to be overnight. If you look at my now 30 plus millionaire students, none of them have made it overnight. It's like year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, when they really capitalize on all the lessons from the previous months and years. You need to study first, okay? So if you're lazy, if you want to get rich quick, get off my page, go scam somebody with crypto. I'm kidding, don't do that. We have enough crypto scammers. You don't need to scam. You really don't. You know, some people are like, oh, like that's a smart criminal. No criminal is smart, okay? You can make so much money legally. You have to use your brain. You have to get the knowledge. But I'll tell you another secret. Once you have the knowledge and you have an edge on every trade because of your excessive preparation, you have confidence, you have happiness, you have, you know, just security, because you cannot lose your knowledge. You can lose your money, and a lot of people without knowledge and without preparation lose their money. There's a saying, a fool and his money are soon parted. But if you are so prepared if you study up so much and you want success that you're willing to just study, like, be like Revenge of the Nerds, that is when, not, guaranteed to be a millionaire overnight. But again, you have better odds in every trade. And the longer you are in this game, the more trades you take, when you have edge, when you have odds in your side, that's how you win in the long run. And you do have to try to be there for some of these manias. Okay, I warn a lot about the crypto scammers, but guess what? There were a lot of legit people in crypto who rode this stuff up. Crypto is the best performing asset over the past decade. So I don't like the scammers. I don't like the imposters. I think it's sad. But at the same time, respect markets that are going up thousands, if not tens of thousands of percentage points. There is so much opportunity from what I've heard. There's actually a lot of crossover between penny stock patterns and crypto. Harry Ye, shout out to him. One of my former penny stock students. He left penny stocks back in 2016, created a crypto guide for Profitly, which sold like 40 copies. No one cared. He created pretty much his own crypto. Now he's, worth between 500 million and like $1 billion. He's got a yacht with a little pool on it. It's crazy. He's got multiple yachts actually, but one has a pool, which is just excessive because the yacht is already in the water. Why do you need an extra pool? Why not when you have that much money? Shout out to Harry Ye for doing it the legit way, just trading. Shout out to the Danish customs officials. I'm sorry. They were literally laughing at me because I'm like trading. I'm stressed. I don't know, what the fine is. I don't know if I'm like going to go to jail for having too much cash in my backpack. I got to be more meticulous. So I made this video as a reminder for myself. Don't take private jet rides with people with negative, toxic auras. It's just bad juju. And also watch out how much cash you have before you get on a plane, especially internationally. It's got to be under $10,000. For most of you, that's not a problem. If you have a villa in Bali waiting for you and they only accept cash, it might be a problem. So you just got to be meticulous. Be meticulous in your trading. Be meticulous in your traveling. Be meticulous in your life. Anything can happen to any of us any day. But those of us who are more prepared, those of us who study the past more, those of us who are more honest in an industry full of scammers, they will be the happiest, most successful, and most secure over time. So that's today's lesson. Life is crazy. Trade well, study up. Click the link below. I'll see you soon.